Hello, welcome to Scrap Time, episode 1031. My name is Christina. On today's episode, I'm showing you some stamps and dies from Waffle Flower. Today, I am showing you the Flower Circles stamps and coordinating die set from Waffle Flower. They're a new company to come into the stamping world. So I'm going to show you the tags I made with these. So first I made this tag here where I used the dies and I inked it up with some distress inks and then stamped it with a couple of the stamps and then used the long stem and the leaf to make the leaf. And then there's Let Love Grow and Hello Friend. And then I used a little scallop here along the bottom. And I have inked these tags using the distress spray stains that I showed you the other day. Now this tag here is very similar, but I used a different combination of the dies. So I just want to show you that with this die, if you were to cut out each die, you get the big flower, you get the middle of the big flower, then you have the middle of that one, and these two pieces from the last flower. However, you can layer these dies within one another to actually get rings, and each of the rings also have sort of those pierced edges. So that's here, I used this ring here, and then there I used that ring. So you can mix and match all these dies to make different flowers. On this tag here, I just used this flower, stamped it on, and then painted in some of my distress spray stain. And again, used the stems and the individual flowers. And then there's this little grass piece here, and I just stamped it along the bottom for something there. Whereas this one, I did the same sort of bottom. But I also want to show you how these circles you can use in your background. So I stamped different circles to add texture to my background, and then just use some of the remaining die pieces I had left over. So I'm going to make a tag. I made two backgrounds because I sprayed the one and then put the other one on top to get the ink, so you get two out of one spray. And I used this Prima tag pad. It is watercolor paper in these big tags. And so I did the same technique I showed you the other day, and this time I used the Mowed Lawn Salty Ocean. I used some cracked pistachio in the middle, which was the new January color. I added on a little bit of squeezed lemonade, and then with the little splotches I did tarnished brass. So I'm going to use that tag. Now I've already inked up some of my pieces. So I have an outside and the little flower. I think I'm going to use the solid inside. So I'm going to use Ripe Persimmon Distress ink. And I have my little round applicator. And I had cut this out of the specialty stamping paper from Ranger. And I find it just takes the ink really well. So like that. That will be the inside. Then if I want to use one of the rings, I think the smaller ring, I am going to then do picked raspberry to coordinate with the outside. I'm going to just switch my foam. Now I have some ink on my craft mat here, so you have to be careful if you don't want to pick up that ink with your applicator. So I have that. Then I could keep that, but I think I might just stick with the flower. And I did the flower with squeezed lemonade. Now this little scallop piece, let me show you the one flower, also fits in the petals there. So you could stamp it there as well. But I'm not going to do it on this one. And I also had stamped some texture here, and what I did was I used the large circle and stamped it even though it was just the ring, and that's how I got sort of that stamped texture on that one. Then you also see there's little bits you can do stamping on the inside of the flowers as well. So I don't need the dies anymore. So for the inside, I think I'm just going to put a few little of the circles. And I'm going to use picked raspberry just to bring in all that pink into the middle. Just like that. Of course, there's a cat hair on it. So now I want to add the stem. I'm going to put my flower aside, and there's two stems here. Now I didn't use this stem very much the last time, so I think I might use it this time. Now let me put this back. Now the stem has a curve to it, but you can straighten it out. And so what I do is I use my block here and I just put it on that line to straighten it out. And that's the great thing about the polymer stamps, is that you can sort of move your thinner stamps around a bit. So if I take this and have some idea of where I want that flower, then I'll have a bit of idea where to start my stem. And I'm going to use black archival ink. I'm going to stamp that there. So then I can take my other one, which was also a little angled, and I can put it more in a straight line. On my block. And then I'm just going to try and match it up. That. Now with that one, it didn't stamp quite as hard, so what I could even do is just go over this with a thin Sharpie. I already have the line sort of there to follow. Bring it up and it sort of blends it all in. So now I can glue my flower on. I'm going to use some Scotch quick dry adhesive. I'm going to put a bit of glue in each of the petals. Then comes the orange piece. Next is my ring. And then for the flower, I'm going to use some adhesive dimensionals. And sometimes what I do is I will put a little bit of glue on them still, because sometimes I find the surface they're going to, it may not stick as well. So I'll just put a little bit of glue just to make sure they stick. And there you have it. From there I can take, I like sometimes to take a brown ink. I'm just trying to find, I have another applicator I think with my brown, but of course I have so much stuff I don't see it. Okay, I'll use green. So I just put a little brown around the edges. And I find it helps just sort of bring it all in. I'm using brushed corduroy here, but I also like to use walnut stain. And then I can stamp my sentiment. If I wanted to add some scallops on the bottom, I could do that. And you have a really fun tag for spring using the Waffle Flower Circle Flower stamp sets and dies. Well, that's it for today's episode. Be sure to check out our website at www.scraptime.ca. And on our next episode, I'm showing you the We Are Memory Keepers Crepe Flower Kits. So please join us. Thanks for watching Scrap Time.